going outside the box. If you're new here, this channel is devoted to learning and growing about becoming more self-sustainable. If that's something that interests you, please follow and subscribe. Today we are working on freeze-drying pumpkin. My son grew a big jack-o'-lantern, and after we played with it and decorated it, we decided to give it a try to freeze dry it. It is not a pie pumpkin, so we thought that possibly freeze drying might intensify the sweetness of it. And also, pumpkin yields a lot, and we wanted a way to figure out how to preserve it for later. And also, as a bonus, we're going to show you how to make a freeze-dried pumpkin spice latte. Super exciting.
My son grew an Atlantic giant pumpkin this year, and so he carved it with his wood carving tools, and then we made it into puree.
So we have pre-frozen pumpkin that came out of our garden, and we pureed and we put in the trays, and we have one tray of coffee and cream and like a pumpkin spice mix. So we're gonna make like an instant pumpkin spice coffee just to give it a try. And we're gonna throw these in the freeze dryer and see what happens. So we're just gonna load our pumpkin puree into the machine. And then our one pumpkin spice coffee latte mixture tray. And we are going to close our valve and hit start. It has been 28 hours and we are going to check on our pumpkin puree. Ooh, interesting. So it's definitely going to end up as a powder, which I expected. I am going to use the moisture meter just to see if any moisture is detected. This isn't a be-all and end-all to telling you if it's done or not. You have to really decide if the rest of it looks done, because it doesn't always accurately measure the moisture, because it's not meant for food. But it will detect moisture if it can. And so this mixture is our coffee and pumpkin puree, basically latte, and it's looking pretty good. I think we'll go ahead and pull it out. I decided to go ahead and pull the coffee out, but since this was quite thick, I think I'm gonna just put an extra hour of dry time, so just to be sure that the pumpkin is all the way done. Okay, so we have let our pumpkin puree freeze dry for 30 hours, and this is the result. It is going to be pumpkin puree powder. So what we are thinking we might do with this is we might use it in soups. We also might use it in like a pumpkin bread or other dessert application. It could also reconstitute into pumpkin pie or some other nutrient-dense food. So I was just gonna give it a taste for you to see, our question is, did this intensify the sugars? Because we didn't use a sugar pie pumpkin. We used just we actually used an Atlantic giant pumpkin variety, which is edible. It's just not the sweetness that a pie pumpkin has. So I'm gonna give it a little taste test just to see if it got sweeter. I'm not thinking it did, but we'll see. Actually, I think it's the tiniest bit sweeter. We made a nice pumpkin pie, or we made a nice pumpkin soup out of the rest of this, and it was very nice for that application because it was very savory. And this is a little bit sweeter, believe it or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it up with a fork. You could put it in a high-powered blender, but you don't need to. Isn't that interesting how it just comes right off? It's very styrofoamy. Here's your Here's your pumpkin pie. So it just breaks up into chunks, and the easiest way I have found when I have freeze-dried products that turn into this is, instead of turning it into powder, I'm just gonna put the chunks in the jar or in the Mylar, and then once it's in the Mylar, you can break it up or shake it in the jar. That way you're not making a big mess. So I find this to be a little easier to just put it right in here. It's making a little mess, but I'm better aim with chunks than I am with dusty powder. So this looks really similar to freeze-dried eggs in my opinion. So I would definitely label it so that we don't get those things mixed up, because that would be a bummer. I'm just gonna keep squishing it down and see how much I can add to the jar. Man, my babies aren't little, but back in the day when they were, I would have been able to just put this with a little bit of hot water as just a nice little baby food. So if you have little ones, this might be a nice on-the-go baby food opportunity, something to maybe have in your diaper bag as a backup.
So the coffee mixture was a little bit more dense than the pumpkin mixture. Pumpkin was a little bit more flaky. This top layer was flaky, but beyond that, it was very thick. And it'll be a nice thick powder to put in hot water for coffee or add to coffee for flavoring. Very cool.
So I successfully fit 3 trays of pumpkin puree into this half-gallon mason jar, just using this little mini rolling pin tamper, and that's it. I'm gonna throw an oxygen absorber in here and a tight lid, and we're all set. So if you ever wanted to try to store, like a whole lot of food, freeze drying is a great way to do that. So as a bonus, I was gonna show you our pumpkin spice coffee latte. And I'm kind of excited about this. I think that we can make a really nice like whipped cream for the topping of, like our Thanksgiving desserts with taste a little bit like coffee and pumpkin spice mixed up in that whipped cream. Also, I'm gonna add it to coffee just for flavoring, just a seasonal thing if that's something that you like. I definitely want to continue to freeze dry more coffee in the future. It's an awesome little quick and easy way to make it if you were in a pinch. So hopefully that was interesting to you and that helped give you some ideas on what to freeze dry next. Please subscribe and I'll see you next time. Thanks. It's an awesome little quick and easy way to make it if you were in a pinch. So hopefully that was interesting to you and that helped give you some ideas on what to freeze dry next. Please subscribe and I'll see you next time.